Hello, everyone, and welcome to the podcast called No Idea. Thank you so much for choosing to listen to us today. My name is Jenny, and today we're going to have a guest speaker. Her name is Jada.
Hi.
She's a dear friend of mine. We've been friends for years, and we are just two college students who have been talking today as we've gotten together, and I'm visiting her right now. We've just been talking about good boundaries and what that looks like, and we know this is a difficult topic for almost anyone to cover. I really admire the people who have those structured times in their lives, and I know that saying yes to everything isn't a healthy way to live, as we've both experienced. Am I right, Jada?
Yes, you are.
But today this came up because we were talking about the Enneagram, one of my favorite topics today. And Jada has been wondering what type she is, and today we pinpointed it, and we decided that she is a 9, which is the peacemaker, and it all originated because we were talking about how hard it is for us to say no to things that come up. And sometimes we're exhausted and we say yes to hanging out with friends anyway, and it can just take a whole bunch of different forms. Like, you've been working too much, but then you say yes to going out and maybe studying super late, and you're like, wow, I'm exhausted. That wasn't a good decision. So we know this is hard, and a lot of other people struggle with it too. We just wanted to share what we think about it and how we've been structuring our lives to get over this, to help us create good personal boundaries. So Jada, why don't you just tell us the story that you brought up today, because it just made me laugh really hard.
Yeah. Well, so last Sunday I had a day off, and it was my first day off in quite some time. And I had a friend of mine who came into town, and she was new to the area, so she really wanted to go hiking. So I was like, she's like, why don't you come? And I said, yeah, absolutely, let's go. So we went to Rocky Mountain National Park, and it's a good hour and a half away from where I'm at, and it takes time to get up the mountain and through the valley and all that to get to the actual park.
Climb it.
Right, and climb the actual 12,000 feet of elevation. But so we, I got out. She's like, well, let's just start really early because I want to get out there before it gets really crowded, because it's a really popular park. And I said, yeah, sure, absolutely, no problem. I'm so down, let's do it. So I set my alarm for 5 a.m.
Oh, good Lord, Jada.
Yeah, and we probably got out there around 7-ish, 8 o'clock maybe in the morning. The sun had just barely risen, and mind you, it was freezing cold. It was in the low 40s all day long.
Freezing cold, low 40s.
Freezing cold.
Okay, well, Jada's in for a shock this winter.
Okay, well, I'm a Floridian, okay, so that was
both?
cold for me. Yeah, so plus mountain weather is way different. Did you know mountains have their own weather?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, apparently.
Well, I know it gets colder.
Right, well, as we're driving up the mountain, I see a warning sign that says, warning, prepare for mountain weather.
What?
I said, what does that mean? What do you mean mountain weather?
I wasn't ready for this.
It says sunny all day. What do you mean? So, anyways, so I was not prepared. I did not pack enough layers. It was very windy. It was a little rainy. It was a very cold day. So, long story short, we get out there and we're hiking for a good 7 or 8 hours.
Oh.
And there's no service where we're at because we're up high, in high elevation, so there's not a whole lot of cell towers out there. They just, So we finally come back down the mountain and come back towards civilization. And by now it's about 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And I get a text from one of my bosses at work saying, hey, we had a call out. Can you come in and cover a shift tonight? And I didn't write back right away, but I responded and I said, hey, sorry, I didn't have service. But I'm in the mountains right now.
Hi, sorry, I'm in the middle of nowhere.
I'm in the mountains, so I can certainly try, but I can't guarantee anything. And so we're driving for another hour or so because it took us some time to get back to, back to the town or whatever, and they hadn't responded. So I texted them back and I said, hey, I just got back into civilization. Do you still need somebody to come in? Do you still need coverage? And she said, yes, please, that would be great. It's just me and one other person.
Oof.
All day long. So it's been just these two people covering the entire store from open to close. And I said, okay, great, I can be there in an hour.
Oh my gosh.
So keep in mind, I'm still an hour away from the store, so I didn't even have time to go home. And I even told him, I said, well, I don't have my uniform or anything. She's like, it's fine, just get here. And I said, okay, great.
Oh.
So I woke up at 5 a.m., hiked the Rockies for about 8 hours, and then went straight to work that same night.
Oh
right
gosh.
after.
And how long did you work?
I probably worked until 9:30, 10 o'clock, and then it's an hour drive back home, so I didn't get home till like 11:30.
Oh. And then you worked the next day,
And then
right?
I worked the next day, right?
Oh, my word.
It wasn't my
finest hour,
right?
Oh, wow. And I asked Jada, once she told me this story, I said, and why did you say yes? And she said,
Well, I don't know.
well, Jenny, I don't know.
No,
But, yeah.
honestly, I think it was just, I'm still new to this job. I just moved to the area, so I was working at a same store down in Florida where I'm from, so they just transferred me out here. But I wanted to make a good impression. I don't exactly have the exact same position I was in before. Before I was in a management position. Now I'm in just a regular non-management position, so it's been kind of hard for me, but they said, you know what, this is all we have available right now, but in the future we could definitely look into moving you back up to where you were, if not higher. So I think a part of me just kind of wanted to make a good impression or seem reliable, you know what I mean? And that, oh, this is somebody I could really depend on. This is a girl that needs to be here. She's really good at what she does, you know? We can depend on her. She's reliable and all that. So I think that was definitely part of it. And I did feel bad too because it was only 2 of them.
Yeah.
One of them being a new mom. She just she has 2 kids, but she just had a baby and she's already back in work. Yeah.
Oh,
so she's like,
geez.
my husband's at home. I literally, as soon as I got there, she's like, I'm just gonna go home and go to sleep while he still has her before he has to go to work. And so that I felt really bad that she had to deal with that. So so that was definitely part of it too, that I just felt bad that they were there by themselves all day long, but I wanted to make a good impression too. Yeah, so but
not necessarily a bad thing.
Right.
Well, do you think that is the reason that you say yes to more things than you should?
Probably. I think a lot of it has to do with, I don't want to let the other person down, you know? And yeah, in more ways than one too. And I would, so I tend not to think about how it's going to affect me, but how it's going to affect them first, which is sometimes that's okay, but I feel like all the time it's, but I'm getting ahead of myself, so.
I'm getting ahead of myself. Sorry about that. But yeah, I definitely say yes to way more things than I should.
Yeah.
I have noticed so much in college especially, and it is less for that reason for me. Most of it comes from maybe FOMO and just not wanting to be left out, or sometimes I just don't think through things before saying yes.
Right.
So I'm like, okay, I have to go to church in an hour, and then all of a sudden friends are like, hey, you want to come eat out with us? And I'm like, yes. And then we hop in the car and I'm like, oh my gosh,
I'm gonna be late for
I have
church.
to be in church in like 15 minutes. So sometimes I just don't think through it, but it's probably I want to have all the experiences mentality.
But they just get overextended.
Yeah. And it's not that great.
And it ends up being way more stress than it's worth.
Yes, it is. So, Jada, we've recognized these things. The first step is admitting you have a problem. So,
well, we're halfway there.
What are some steps that you've taken personally to set good personal boundaries in your life since realizing this?
Honestly, there have definitely been times, not enough, there should be more, of just times where I have been asked to do something or, given the opportunity, hey, do you want to go do this, etc. And I realize now that I just kind of need to take that opportunity or that invite or whatever it may be and just kind of step back for a second and just think about it. Just like, okay, this would be great, but how is this going to affect me? Is it something that I really have time for? Do I have other priorities I need to be focusing on?
Yeah.
Yes, it would, probably benefit this person, but like I said, at the end of the day, it's really just going to be how it affects me and not really how it affects them. Yes, I want to help somebody out if I can, but if it's going to be a stress on me or something that's just not healthy in the long run, like hiking for 8 hours straight and then working a 6-hour shift.
Yeah,
not physically ideal,
Yeah.
So, definitely just kind of looking at it and just taking a second glance at it, maybe just like an outside perspective and just be like, hey, wait a minute, before you answer that, just think about this for a second. So, and I know it sounds simple, but it actually makes a big difference.
Makes a huge difference.
Right.
Also, I guess it's deciding, is this person's approval of me, or maybe like their opinion of me worth me like exhausting myself and working myself to the bone?
Absolutely.
So it's just weighing all of our options, you know?
Just weigh the pros and cons.
Yep.
Yeah. Make a list.
Yeah,
I like lists.
Love lists. We are
lists.
big list fans. For me, it was more realizing that my goal isn't to fill up my planner.
Right.
Because I feel like I look at my planner for the week and I'm like, well, I could do this day, so I write it down. And this would be also fun to do, and I need to get this done. I know it's very far ahead, but I could squeeze it in this day. So all these time slots are filled, and time is not free. Like, we're always paying time. That's why we say spending time doing something, because it costs us something. Maybe not money, maybe time, and it's very valuable. So just realizing that time is such a valuable resource that we all have. It's just up to us how we spend it. And my goal is not to spend all of it out with people or not taking care of myself.
Right.
Because it's very important. And the thing is, if we don't take care of ourselves, then we can't take care of other people in our lives.
Yes.
And if we sell our time for every experience, then we can't really enjoy the good experiences.
Right.
So, quality over quantity. That's something my mom told me growing up, and I was like, Rita, I don't get it. I just don't understand. I understand you have good intentions, but I don't understand what you're saying. Also, I think that this happened to me like a few weeks ago. I had overcommitted myself socially again, and I was kind of disappointed in myself. Like, Jenny, you've struggled with this all your life. You've been doing great, but you had this blunder moment, and now I'm out with friends, and I have 15 minutes to go to church or something like that. That just happened to me a few weeks ago. And so I like made a list of my priorities, and like, okay, right now in my life, my priorities are this and this, and these things I am also committed to can take a lesser priority. Like, if I have the choice between two of them, I know which one I'm going to choose first. So knowing those ahead of time so you don't say yes to everything. Also, I think that I need to think through, like you said, think through things before saying yes. All it takes is 5 minutes. Maybe it's just the difference between setting a 5-minute timer on your phone before like responding to that text.
Right.
So
my mom always said, she was like, Jada, think before you speak or think before you act. I'm like, there's just not enough time.
You're like, listen, Mom, I don't understand. Maybe we should just listen to our moms more. Our moms are pretty wise. Now we're just realizing it.
Yep.
Well, these are just our suggestions. So, all our listeners out there, if you could just comment, try out these things, tell us how they work, or give us your input. If you have really great boundaries on our life, we want to know what they are.
We'd love some feedback.
Yes, so please comment, tell us what was helpful and what isn't, and let us know how this works for you. We all know we need good boundaries in our life in order to be productive and successful, and to serve others and take care of them. So, Jada, is there anything specifically that you want to say, just like, what is the thing, if they just take away one thing from this podcast, that you want it to be for our listeners? How would you sum all this up?
Honestly, don't stress. I know that sounds really silly sometimes, they're just super simple, but simplicity is key, let me tell you. So, you know, and like I said, the time that I was, like when I went to work after hiking for 8 hours, again, not ideal, not recommended. Don't try this at home.
1 out of 10 recommendations.
Right? But the amount of just stress that, like, okay, well, do I go? Do I not? I mean, just they need help and they don't have anybody else, but I just hiked for 8 hours. Like, what do I do? The amount of stress that I put on myself just out of just for making a decision was so ridiculously unnecessary. And I feel like you just don't need to do that. Just take it, like, just take a breather. Again, like I said, just weigh those pros and cons. And then just make a good, logical, peaceful decision, like what's going to benefit you. Obviously, you don't, there's that border between selfishness and selflessness. But, you know, again, you just got to kind of weigh those pros and cons. If it's going to help you, is it going to help them? Is it going to help you and them? You know what I mean? Can you help yourself? And then by doing that, you can help them better in the future. You know what I
Yes.
mean? So just things to think about.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Most of the pressure that we feel is put on by ourselves.
Right, exactly.
And we don't need to do that anymore.
Exactly.
Let's break that cycle. So, this has been No Idea, the podcast. Thank you so much for joining us today. We hopefully will hear your feedback and you'll tune in again next time. This has been Jenny and our dear friend Jada. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Yeah, no problem.
All right, see you around.